Let's begin on our backs. Let's start Supta Baddha Konasana just for a moment. So that soles of the feet come together. You kind of make the shape of a butterfly. Yep. Palms face open. And I know practicing at home is a challenge. You've all adapted wonderfully. So you just take it as it comes. You do the best that you can, and you be kind to yourself. On your back, soles of the feet come together, knees knock apart. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Just make a connection and tap inward. Or just have your palms facing open and just feel your lower back kind of melting into the mat. I mean, as subtle as this, your inner thighs roll open. You're getting a nice stretch in the inner part of the legs, through the groin. Activate your feet. Connect to your Ujjayi breath. Let the breath move through your body. Inhale through the nose. Exhale is also through the nose. And allow yourself the space to just kind of move through this practice the best that you can this morning. Blink the eyes open, take the feet flat to the floor, just like a little bridge pose. Reach your arms forward towards the front of your mat and pause. So the lift comes from your upper shoulder blades, but you're more scooping out your belly and your neck stays nice and long. Good, keep lifting. And then lift the legs on an angle. You know, I love these. Lift the legs on an angle. Lower the feet back down to the ground. Lift higher. Exhale the breath, let it go. So we're just going to do a few, then we're going to add on to some other stuff. Pull yourself up. Lift your legs on an angle. Any angle that works. If this isn't great for your lower back, just go straight up. Rebend the legs, take the feet flat. Feel that, lift higher through your core, not through your neck. Exhale the breath, let it go. Pull yourself up. Lift your legs on an angle, any angle that works. Rebend, take your feet flat, anchor, lift higher. Exhale the breath, let it go. Pull yourself up. Lift your legs on an angle. Rebend the legs so the feet go flat, lift higher. Exhale the breath, let it go. Lift your legs so it's like a little tabletop position such as this. Take your hands behind your head. Good. Make sure when you do this, you're not crunching your neck. You're really scooping out your belly. So what's going to happen is you're going to kind of hug in like a ball. So wrap your elbows the best that you can, but keep your neck neutral towards the sides of your legs. Flex your feet. So you're scooping out your belly. On the exhale breath, you're going to extend straight out. Open up your elbows so they touch the ground. So I know Nancy's lower back may be up a little higher for some of us. Straight out is going to be the most intense. Flex your feet. Try it again. Hug in. Hug in, hug in, hug in. See if you can wrap tight, flex your feet. Extend out, elbows open, keep the neck long, flex your feet. Try it again, hug in. Hug in, hug in, hug in. Try and touch, try and wrap. Extend out, tap your elbows, keep your neck long. Again, hug in. Exhale, extend out. Again, hug in. Exhale, extend out. Hug in, pause. Reach your arms forward like a cannonball. Use the strength of your body and rock yourself up to an amended boat. So the arms can reach forward, the legs are bent. The hands can also be down to create some support for yourself. This is a great way to take it. Good. More intense, the arms can reach straight up, but you want to take the round out of your back, guys. Yeah, and scoop out your belly. That's why having the legs bent is actually a little better, especially early in the practice. Lift from deep in your core muscles. Look forward with your eyes. Cross your ankles, plant your hands. Step to a downward facing dog. So step to your first down dog here. Take up a lot of space on your mat. I really like to start a practice with just kind of activating the core muscles. We need so much of our core to move through this practice and move through it safely. Right. Yeah, your feet are roughly hips width distance. And I say roughly because everybody's bodies are different. So Your hands are roughly the width of the mat, maybe a little bit closer in if your shoulders are a little more narrow. But most importantly, make sure that your index fingers are forward, the creases of the wrists are turning forward. And then look back at your feet, spread your toes wide, and maybe bend behind your knees if you need a little less intensity through your hamstrings. And if you've got a little spaced out with your breath, come back to it. Come back to just a nice, slow, smooth inhale through your nose to the back of your throat. And then match it with a smooth, full exhale, maybe a little deeper, a little bit more powerful. Keep breathing your hips the best that you can up off your shoulders this morning. Plug down through your thumb, your index finger, your baby finger. Feel your outer arms wrap in. And as your outer arms wrap in, your shoulders move away. So you're not dumping all the weight down. Roll forward to a plank. Match yourself here so your shoulders over your elbows over your wrists, your belly draws in nicely. And your weight, I'll encourage you, as I always do, to bring it forward onto your tippy toes for proper alignment. Listen to what your body needs this morning. If you need to modify, drop your knees. Right. It's never about blowing yourself out of the water. It's almost about just doing just enough in the practice so you can feel good. That is our goal. Good. Hold. There's a sensation of hugging in. So when I say that, you're hugging in throughout the entire length of your body. And when you hug in, think of the center line, down the center line of your body, drawing everything towards that, but letting your shoulders move apart so you get this like external rotation. You're still in plank. The screen didn't freeze. Breathe your chest a little bit forward. Feel the ground beneath you. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Let the head go. Roll forward to a plank. Match yourself here the best that you can. Everybody drop their knees directly under. Lift your feet up, cross your ankles so it looks like this. Yeah. If your knees are too close to you, you're going to be off alignment. So the knees are a little bit back, like an inch or two behind the hips. Good. Look forward with your eyes. Bend your elbows in half to a supported chaturanga with your ankles lifted. Draw your belly in. Re-straighten your arms to a supported plank. Stay. Yeah, right like that. Try it again. Bend your elbows really slow and feel the supported chaturanga. Feel your shoulders not drop below where they need to. Keep the neck long. Re-straighten your arms to a supported plank. The slower you move, the more you'll get. Bend your elbows to a supported chaturanga. Re-straighten your arms to a supported plank. Again, bend your elbows to a supported chaturanga. Move slower. Feel the weight in your thumb and your index finger. Re-straighten your arms to a supported plank. One more. Bend your elbows slow. Re-straighten the arms. Uncurl the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. So you can take all your push-ups like that. And as you see, the slower you move, you'll still get quite a bit. Roll forward, plank. Bend your elbows in half to a chaturanga, pause. Drag yourself to a nice up dog if that's available to you this morning. Some of us don't love up dog, so you can take baby cobra or you can skip it. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Breathe your hips high off your shoulders. Let your head just be free. Look to the top of the mat this morning. Take 2 big steps just to start off to get there. Feet can be together or a little separated. Long spine on the inhale. Keep the weight forward. Definitely soften behind your knees in these forward bends. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, come all the way up. Anchor yourself. Draw yourself hands to prayer. Stand up tall, arms by side body. Feel the weight kind of move around and then find that positioning. Sweep the arms up, sun A's. Dive over bent knees, forward fold. Let your head and your weight go forward. Yeah, your head go down and your weight go forward. Long spine on the inhale. Step to plank for this first one. So if you're a jumper, hold back. Yeah. Bend your elbows in half to a chaturanga. Move a little slower. Drag yourself through a nice, simple up dog. Activate your legs. Press to the tops of the feet. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Look to the top of the mat, 2 big steps. I know some of us are excited, but just step, step. Long spine, weight stays forward. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, grow the pose. Drag the hands to prayer at heart. Drop your arms. Again, sweep the arms up. So move with ease. Dive over bent knees, forward fold, let your head go. Come to the fingertips to prepare. Plant your palms, step, step one more time. Bend your elbows in half to a chaturanga. Drag yourself through an upward facing. Your legs are really active and strong. Your knees are lifted ideally. Hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Look to the top of the mat. You can step, step. You can float at this point. If you feel like you want to jump, the jump should be light. Long spine, keep the weight forward. Exhale, fold again. Root to rise, come all the way up. Drag it to prayer at heart. Drop your arms. Arms reach up, look up a little with your eyes. Dive over bent knees, forward fold, let your head go. Long spine on the inhale. Anchor your hands. You can step, step. You can float through a vinyasa. It's up to you how you want to move. Up dog should be very simple and opening though. Press through your feet and your hands. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Look where you want to go. Step or float, feet to the top. Long spine on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, come all the way up. Drag it to prayer at heart. Drop your arms. Last one, arms reach big. Dive again over bent knees. Let your head go. Come to the fingertips, long spine. Step, step. If you're going to float, remember, you land with bent elbows in your chaturanga. Upward facing, smooth. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Look forward, just step your right foot towards your right thumb and come to your fingertips and pause. So you're just in a low lunge here. So you have the option, you can drop your back knee. So for a lot of us early in the practice, it actually is quite beneficial to do this, especially if you run, cycle, play tennis, walk, I mean, just live your life to stretch this part of your leg as your psoas. Sweep your arms up. So if you're dying to keep that knee lifted, that's totally fine. I'm just going to start like this to just demonstrate a few different options. Good. Arms are going to reach forward. Now, when my arms reach forward, my whole body doesn't go. I want to stay up and down with my torso and my arms just wrapping forward. Wrap the left arm underneath the right arm for eagle arms. If this is unavailable, grab opposite shoulders. This is a good alternative. Or hands can always just be in a prayer if something's going on. Rather than yanking down, lift the elbows up. Get a nice stretch to the upper shoulder blades. Pause here. Now, from here, if you want to lift your kneecap, start to engage the muscles around your thigh and your hamstring. The hip points must stay forward though. So the back leg's going to lift and the hip points stay forward. The elbows lift up. Dig your right heel into the mat. Hug your right hip underneath you and activate your back leg strong. So you choose. Maybe the back knee needs to stay down. Maybe you can engage it and lift the leg up. That's it. Take your eagle arms and your torso. We practiced this a little earlier in the week. Turn a little to the right. When I say a little to the right, the hip stays squared. So my torso just moved a little bit from above my belly button and beyond. Good. Open up your arms now, nice and wide. Now, if this isn't the most seamless movement, your hand can be on the flat part of your back too. So the left arm is breathing forward and ideally the right arm is reaching back. Hip points stay squared, back leg strong, and you're sitting into the front right thigh. Look forward, begin to tip your left hand down and the right arm open. Easy twist. So once again, back knee is strong and straight, or the knee can be down on the ground. Stack the two shoulders, look up with your eyes. Breathe your shoulder blades apart. Dig your right heel into the mat and continuously grip your right hip underneath you as your back leg stays strong. Look down with your eyes. Take both hands to frame your front foot. Keep your right foot as it is. Turn your back foot strong on its side for a warrior two stance. Reach for a block. Place it to the instep of your foot. If you don't have a block, you can go directly to the floor. Right hand down, left arm open. Look down at your feet. Just make sure your feet aren't all over the place. So your right foot is forward. Your back foot has a little turn to it. And you're probably heel to heel or heel to arch. Lean back your right arm into the inside of your right leg. There you go. And keep bending into your front right thigh. The left arm can reach straight up. It can come up and forward for a side body opening. Or you can wrap your left arm around for a half bind. So any of these options today. Also, if having your right hand down on the instep of your foot or block is significantly uncomfortable, arm can simply just rest on the top of the thigh, such as this. Nancy, that looks great. Keep gripping your right hip underneath you and turning your bottom ribs. And then make sure you're breathing, you're not holding your breath and praying for it to be over. Turn the bottom ribs and look up. Stay with it. So find the stillness in the pose. Find a little bit of change with each breath, but stay consistent. If you took your left arm into a half bind or up and forward, unravel it so it goes straight up and down. Anchor your feet and legs, press through the floor, pull up to a warrior two. So as you come up to this warrior two, sometimes you need to slide your right foot forward. Little adjustments in the pose, totally fine. Wrap your inner thigh open, back leg stays strong. Lengthen your tailbone and spread a lot of energy across your upper torso. 5 breaths. You may choose to close your eyes or just pick a drishti, a focal point, something to hone in on. Lengthen the tailbone rather than feeling like you're locking yourself up. Breathe a lot of energy from the crown of the head through the floor. Yep. Take one more big breath in. On the next exhale breath, look forward. Circle both hands to frame your front foot. Let your left heel pop up off the ground. Anchor your left palm, hug the tricep. Roll into a Vashisthasana side plank. I'm actually going to take my top leg and bend it up into a tree. That is optional. You can also modify bottom knee to the floor. Supported side plank. Some version of a side plank that you think you can hold for the next several breaths. 2 hips stack. Anchor your left hand. Grip your left shoulder underneath you, your left tricep, and then lift a little higher. Draw the belly in, keep the breath flowing. Look down, let go of the tree if you have it, plank position. Bend your elbows slow, chaturanga. Pull yourself through an up dog, pause in the up dog. This is optional, recurl the toes, bend your elbows, chaturanga, draw your belly in. Straighten your arms to a plank, hips up and back, downward facing dog. From your down dog, land your left foot forward into a low lunge. Drop your knee to start off and sweep your arms up. So do this first because it's good to just check in and say, okay, left side of the body, what's happening with you today? Bring your arms forward, pause. Wrap your right arm underneath your left. If you think you mismatched the arms, just take the arm that feels less stress. Lift the elbows up and just be here. So a very simple movement. Feel that outer left hip grip underneath you. Feel a gentle stretch of your back right thigh. And feel your left heel on the floor. Lift your elbows a little bit more. Now you may choose to just stay with this. The support of the knee is fine. If you'd like to try engaging from your quadricep and hamstring, do it slow. Let the legs start to straighten. Hip points stay forward. Breathe your chest up a little. Look up with your eyes. Keep the legs the shape that they are. Start to take your ribs a little bit to the left, like 2 inches. So just like looking a little left and taking this kind of micro twist. Keep gripping the hips underneath you as you do it. Spread your arms wide. See if you can create that openness. Yeah, so the right arm is reaching forward, the left arm is reaching back, or simply just have your hand on the flat part of your back if it's not working out. Keep sitting into your front thigh though. Keep activating your back leg. 2 more. Hip points don't move, they stay forward, hips hug in. Look forward with your eyes, reach out, tent the fingertips or land the hand on a block and find an easy twist. Back leg strong or back out. Stack the 2 shoulders like side plank and set yourself up here for success. Grip the hips underneath you, twist open a little more. Look down with your eyes, place both hands to the floor. Keep your left foot as it is. Turn your right foot strong, angle it into a warrior 2 position. Take your block, oops, mine are flying around. Left hand down, right arm open. You almost want the sensation that you're leaning your tricep back into the inner part of your thigh a little, and then the right arm up. Grip your left hip, this is the hardest part underneath you, and keep turning your bottom ribs. Now the right arm can reach straight up, it can come forward, but turn your bicep down, or you can reach up and take your arm and wrap it around for a half bind. Arm can also rest on the top of the thigh. Keep gripping the hips underneath you and turning those ribs. Look over your right shoulder. Strong angle with your right leg. Keep pressing through that foot. A few more breaths. You almost feel like you're leaning back a little bit. If you took a bind or some other option with your right arm, just reach it straight up, anchor your feet without too much bounce, pull up warrior 2. Warrior 2. You got it. Take a little bit of a bigger step. Sometimes you have to slide your foot a little bit more forward. Yeah, you got it, Katie. Perfect. And then wrap that inner thigh open. And remember, your torso isn't turning. Kristen, looks beautiful. Your torso straight up and down. And then breathe across your body as you kind of indulge in the pose, if that's possible. The feeling is temporary, so see if you can just empower yourself for the last 3 breaths. Sit a little deeper. Look forward with your eyes, circle your hands to frame your front foot. Let your left heel, your foot peel up off the ground, lean onto your right hand, find a side plank Vashisthasana, bend your top leg up into tree. Left arm extends up, bottom hip lifts. Yeah, you got it. Lift up a little higher. Look down with your eyes. If you have a tree, just let it go. Plank position, pause and plank. Bend your elbows in half, chaturanga. Pull yourself through an up dog, pause. So if you want to add this little push up, recurl the toes, activate your legs, and bend your elbows in half. Draw your navel in. So you're back in a chaturanga. Straighten your arms to a plank, hips up and back, downward facing. Step your right foot forward, turn your back foot strong, come up to a warrior 1. Warrior 1. As you come up to warrior 1, hug your right hip in, activate your back left leg, and subtly and effectively turn your left ribs forward a little. Good. Sit a little deeper into your front thigh, activate your back leg, and then bring your hands down to frame your front foot, plank position. Chaturanga. Drag yourself to a nice up dog, point your toes, hips up and back, downward facing. Land your left foot forward, turn your back foot strong, come on up, warrior 1. So as you come up, you kind of have to hug the left hip underneath you and turn your right ribs and your right thigh a little more forward. Your feet should feel strong against the floor. Your belly drawing in. Hands to frame your front foot. At this point, if you don't want to take all these push-ups, you don't have to. You just move through a downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Take a full exhale breath out. Good. Look where you want to go. Step or float your feet to the top. Long spine on an inhale breath. Exhale, fold. Sit into a chair pose. Weight moves into your heels. Dig your heels down into the ground and let your butt stick back. As your chest lifts, yeah, your eyes move slightly forward or up. Press to a standing position, drag your hands to prayer, drop your arms. Together we shall move. Arms reach up, sit again into a chair. Dive over bent knees, forward fold, let your head go. Come to the fingertips, long spine, step or float through your vinyasa. From your downward facing dog, when you get there, the right foot lands, the back foot turns, warrior one. Bring it back down to the floor to a plank, vinyasa or not at this point. From your downward facing dog, slide your left foot forward, turn your back foot strong, warrior one, come on up. Hands come down, plank position, chaturanga. Upward facing, be happy, hips up and back, downward facing dog, let it go. Deep breath in, full breath out. Pay attention to your energy. Maybe it's shifting at this point. Look where you want to go. Step or float your feet to the top. Long spine on an inhale breath. Exhale, fold. Sit again into chair. Weight moves into your heels. Shooting up to stand. Drag your hands to prayer. Arms drop. Arms reach big. Sit again into chair. Maybe you can sit a little deeper each time. Exhale, fold over your legs. Let your head go. Come to the fingertips, long spine. Step or float through the vinyasa. Nice, that looked good. Up dog. Hips up and back. Right foot forward. Just keep moving the best that you can. Back foot strong, warrior one. Bring it back down, plank position. Chaturanga. Upward facing. Hips up and back, downward facing. Left foot forward, back foot strong, warrior one. Bring it back down to the floor. You can go right to a down dog too. Upward facing should feel good. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Full breath out. We're just gonna do one more. Here we go, we'll make it our best one. Look where you wanna go. Step or float to the top. Long spine on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Sit into chair. The sun is coming out in New Jersey. Yes. Press to stand, hands to heart center. Last one, here we go. Arms reach up. I won't say forever, sit into chair, because you just never know. Dive over bent knees, forward fold, let your head go. Come to the fingertips, long spine, step or float, vinyasa. Upward facing dog point. Hips up and back, downward facing. Right foot forward, back foot strong. Come up, warrior one, and let's hold. Warrior one, and let's hold. So make sure your stance feels like adequate for you. Right heel is pressing firm, right hip is hugging in, and your back left foot is really grounded. Drop your arms by your side body. Interlace your hands. You can have your elbows bent, such as this, if it doesn't feel great on your shoulders. You can straighten your arms if this feels a little bit more powerful and acceptable to you. Lift the upper collarbone, look up with your eyes, keep bending into that right leg. Humble. So 2 ways to take humble warrior. Simply just come down and like almost feel like you're resting your stomach on your thigh. That's option 1. Really working on squaring your hips towards the front edge of the mat. Option 2 is to kind of snuggle in there, but your hips are still squared off, your head goes soft. So there's a wrapping of your right hip in, yeah, and an activation of your left thigh bone forward. And then your clasp hands maybe start to drop down and your head hangs soft. Either of these options are great. Find one that works with your body that you can hold for a few more breaths. Just keep breathing. Let the breath kind of move the practice. Keep feeling your feet on the ground. Come up just halfway and pause. And I want everyone to hover. You're hovering over your right thigh. Your stomach is not resting on your thigh. You're hovering. You're using the strength of your legs and your core. Slide your left hand to your hip and reach your right arm forward, such as this. Yeah, just do that much. There's a hugging of your right tricep. Keep your hand on your hip. Now reach for a block. Focus on the strength of your right foot staying forward, and you're going to float up to a half moon. Grip your right hip underneath you. Yeah. Start with your hand on your hip. Yeah, see, we're all falling out together. And then extend your left arm up when you feel that you have the balance. So getting from humble to half is teaching us to really have our right foot forward. A strong hugging in of our right hip, like our right leg is like a Tadasana. Yeah. And when you fall, it's good. It's good to know that you're playing your edge. If you want to add the Chopasana, some of you have already done that. Grab behind you with your foot and get hold of your ankle. And then the kick goes behind you rather than up. So often behind your right knee, like a little micro bend. And then maybe get a little lighter in your bottom right hand. Come to 3 fingers or 2 fingers. Bottom hand can eventually work into a prayer. Keep turning your bottom ribs, yeah, towards the sky and look up if you can. Last few breaths. Regular half moon if you added in any fun stuff. Slow transition, look down with your eyes. Left hand comes to the floor, square your hips. Land your feet together to touch. Sit into a chair, make it bold. Weight in your heels. Drag your hands to a prayer at heart. Hook your elbow, turn towards the right. 2 knees, shins, everything stay lining up nicely, and then you get in there. Look up with your eyes, maybe open up your arms. Keep the spine nice and long. Notice if your weight starts to move into the fronts of your feet, move it a little bit more back into your heels. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Stay strong in your legs. Pull around to a chair. Good, really sit in your chair. Look forward. Shoot up to stand. Keep your arms straight up. Good. So from here, your arms are gonna stay up. You're gonna stand on your left leg, draw your right knee in, wrap your right arm around your left, and then wrap your right thigh around your left thigh for eagle. Yeah, eagle pose. So your standing left leg is the balancing leg, if you got confused. And you're wrapping your arms and you're wrapping your legs. And eagle is essentially a chair, just with wrapping of the limbs. Lift your elbows up. And then the goal is to kind of straighten yourself out in the pose. Wasn't that our goal in general? Sit a little deeper, weight moves into your heels. Keep breathing. Listen carefully, guys. Keep the legs the way they are for a moment. Try this. Sweep your arms out and up. Keep bending your left leg. Keep the bend of the left leg. Float your right leg back, warrior 1. So really bending into that front thigh, warrior 1. If it didn't work out, you just reset. Things in life don't always work out. Grip your left hip and drop your arms. Pause. Interlace your hands, opposite grip. Start with bent elbows if this feels the best. Then shoulder blades draw down the back. You start to straighten out your arms if you can. Bend deep into your front thigh. Inhale your breath. Exhale, come forward, humble. So find one that works. Either resting your stomach on your thigh or getting in there. And kind of hugging the shoulder to the inside of the leg. Letting your head go. Draw a little bit more attention to the back leg, this one. Fire up all the muscles around your right kneecap. Yeah. And then lift your inner arch up so you use more of the outer blade of your foot if possible. Now keep the attention there and keep bending into your front thigh as you do that. Keep the shape of your legs. Come up halfway and pause. Just hover for a second. Yeah, you should feel a lot of work around your outer left hip. Take your right hand to your hip and slide your left arm forward. Just do that much first. Now you have to continue to bend into this left leg and hug the hip in. You're definitely going to reach for a block and float to your half moon. Soften behind your left knee if you need to. Right arm can extend up. Hand can also stay on your hip. Sometimes getting from that position to this, you really struggle with the balance. So just know that you're not alone. It takes a bunch of breaths to kind of work it out. Stack the top hip, flex the right toes, and then if you want to add the shavasana, go for it. Bend behind your knee, grab your ankle, the kick goes behind you. If you fall, you try again. Grip your left hip strong. Find more space from your side ribs. Continue to look up if at all possible. If you added in the shavasana, meet us in a regular half moon. 2 more. Look down with your eyes, make the transition its own pose. Right hand comes to the floor, square your hips. Then slide your feet together. Now sit into a chair, weight moves into your heels. Drag the hands to that prayer, hook the elbow, take it to the left. Keep moving that weight into your heels. Dig down to get in there. And then look up, or maybe open up your arms if you feel good. Weight stays in the heels. So a lot of times what starts to happen as we fatigue in the pose is the right knee and the right side of the body starts to drift forward. Stay determined, stay strong in the lower half of the body. Pull around to a chair. Really sit, move the weight into your heels, look up with your eyes, shoot up to stand, but keep your arms lifted. Just stand for a second, contract your lower belly, contract your thigh. Standing on your right leg, just drag your left leg into half position. So you're just standing up with your left leg bent in half. Good. Then from here, wrap your left arm around your right. Bend your right leg enough that your left leg can wrap around. Eagle, standing on your right leg. Grip your hips underneath you and sit deep. Weight is in your heels. Lift your elbows up, look forward with your eyes. Squeeze everything tight. Couple more. So focus on your legs, really keep the right leg bent, just unravel your arms. So keep bending your right leg like the front of a warrior one. Keep bending it and begin to sweep your left leg back, warrior one on the right side. And if you need to readjust, you readjust. Maybe you have to take your hands to your hips and kind of work it out. It's okay. Arms reach up. Pause for a second. Warrior one, right side. Slide your hands to prayer. Inhale your breath. Hook the elbow. Your back heel can lift up off the ground. You can try it with your foot anchored, like a warrior one foot. It would look like this. It may not work for all of you. So you may need to peel your heel up off the ground into more of the traditional crescent lunge, but just throwing out some other options. See how you're all doing with that. Yes. So when you take it with more of the warrior one positioning, you really have to anchor that left leg. And you may feel that you're getting less of a twist, and that's okay. The heel needs to pop up, that's fine. You got it. Stay with it. A few more breaths. You got it, Mark. So look up with your eyes. Sometimes just looking And changing where you looked rather than looking back. I'm gonna take the round out. 2 more breaths. I know you're all having a party over there. Look down, place both hands to the floor and pause. Step your back foot in a bunch. Straighten out your front leg as best that you can. Bring your hands on your hips and pull yourself up to stand. So it's about a 3 to 3.5 foot distance between your 2 feet unless you're exceptionally tall. Walk your right foot over to the right. With your hands on your hips, right hand stays as it is, left arm extends up. Anchor the back leg. Inhale the breath. Exhale, come down for a twisting triangle. I personally use a block for twisting triangle on the instep of the foot, or I could recommend your palm pressing into the front of the shin and your right hand on the flat part of your back. Look to the right and then look up. Use the strength of your back leg and keep a micro bend or a deep bend in your front right leg. Nice long torso. Look to the right, look up, and twist open. Maybe your arms can open. Feel like someone's got you by your hips for this last little bit. Twist a little more. Look down, place both hands to frame your front foot. Listen carefully. Walk your right foot to the center, walk your left foot to meet it. So your feet are together at the top of the mat. Take your hands to your hips and at the same time come to a standing position. At the top of your mat, cross your right ankle over your left thigh and make the number 4 with your hands on your hips. Flex your foot really strong. Yeah, slide your arms straight up. Start to move your hips. I'm gonna move my butt like I'm sticking it towards the fireplace. If you need to, you can slide your hands to those hip creases to give yourself like a manual adjustment. So think ankle to knee with a chair. Yeah, if your foot is sliding off, you have to kind of manually make the shape. That's fine. Reach your arms back and hover over your leg. Keep bending into the standing left leg and flex your right foot strong. Breathe. If you're dying to fly, you're welcome to. Your hands will come down and you'll place them to the floor. You'll wrap your foot around the outer part of your triceps, make chaturanga-like arms, and begin to move your weight forward. If you're not into flying, you want to stay holding and hovering, that's fine. If you want to try something else, take the back of your triceps and kind of press them against the front of your right shin, and then bring your hands to a prayer and stay here. 5 more breaths. Keep moving the weight into your standing left heel. Keep bending into that leg. If you opted for flying, lower the foot to the floor. Meet us kind of in this hovering position. Take your hands on your hips. Pull yourself up to stand. Lower your right foot to the ground. Just stand tall. Just stand up for a second. Nothing fancy here. Just sweep your arms out and up. Look up. Dive over, bent knees, forward fold. Let your head go. Come to the fingertips, long spine. Keep your left foot where it is. Just take a giant step back with your right leg. Walk your left foot to the left, turn your back foot strong, and come up warrior 1 on the left side. Warrior 1, left side. Last time. Drag your hands to a prayer. Feel the strength of your back leg. Inhale your breath, hook the elbow, and twist to the left. Now, if you're trying it with the back foot down, really ground it. Yeah, if it doesn't feel good for you or your lower back, let the heel pop up and take it more the traditional way. Grip the hips underneath you, scissor the inner thighs, and twist open. So my job as your teacher is to just offer new, different little ways. They're not really new. They're old ways of getting into things. Lean back a little so the crown of the head lines up with your back foot. And breathe. 3 more breaths. Good. Look down, place both hands to the floor. Pause. Step your back foot in enough that it can go straight. Straighten out your left leg with a micro bend. Hands to your hips. Pull yourself up. Good. Left hand on your hip, right arm slides up. Anchor the back leg. Come halfway down, steer the hips back, and then come the rest of the way down for a twisting triangle. You can go high with the block. So as you get more advanced, the arm, the hand, the back of the palm, compress the outside of the calf, such as this. But you just want to make sure that you're neutral in your pelvis and you're not steering your whole body to the left. Or you can just stay in this advanced version, your hand on the block and twist open. Steer the hips back, activate the back leg, and twist with compassion for yourself here. And then you get to a spot that's all that's left to do is just breathe and hold. There's nowhere really to go. There's no end to these poses. Stay a little longer. Look down, place both hands to the floor, just kind of kick your block forward, walk your left foot to the center, step your right foot forward, take your hands to your hips and just come up one more time to the standing position. Good. Make the number 4 with your left leg, flex the foot. Just so you know, you can always take this to the wall too. So arms reach up, flex the foot. Start to bend into the standing right leg. Yeah, really bend. Then if you get here and you're like, oh, it doesn't feel good, I need to actually adjust myself and help it, then you do that, maybe the hands to the hips, but keep bending. And then find what you want to do. Maybe it's just to work on hovering with your arms back. I like this. Hands can be in prayer. You're creating a little up dog with your chest. And then once you get here and you settle in, maybe you want to work into a flying version of this with your hands down and wrapping your foot. Or you can use the back of your triceps and make kind of a connection here. Back of triceps, front of shin, and then hands to a prayer. Keep bending into that standing leg. I really like this. I think this is very, very effective. Look forward with your eyes and just breathe. If you're flying, start to work your way out and meet us somewhere here. This hovering position. Bring your hands to your hips at the same time if possible. Press up to stand, feet together. Stand up tall at the top of your mat. Just stand for a second. So before we go down to the ground, I want to take you upside down. So if you have a wall space in your room and you want to go up into a handstand, a forearm stand, a headstand, if you're like, none of these options are speaking to me, I'm going to take someone or something out, you can go into a wide straddle. Take your feet wide. Good. Bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees and come forward, or dolphin pose. So we're going to be here for 60 seconds. Dolphin pose is great, and I encourage you to really hold it. So it's down dog on your forearms. Yep. Wide straddle to a wall, upside down. If there's a lot of glass wherever you are, just be careful, please. And I'm just going to remind you, if you're in a dolphin pose, you definitely want to wrap your arms in a little closer. Nice, Kristen. Keep breathing those hips up, off the backside of your legs. Yeah. And if you're in dolphin, this is where you start to get like, okay, she should call us out soon. I need you to stay just a little longer and see if you can just mindfully get through this. Nice, Dara. Last 5 breaths. So start to come out on your own time. If you're all the way upside down, maybe split the legs apart, hover the legs. Maybe it's just kind of falling to the floor. Come to a child's pose for just a brief minute. Just a child's pose to reset. We actually have not been to a child's pose in this practice. So just take a child's pose. Let your knees go wide. Slide your arms forward. And then from here, anchor your hands, curl your toes into the mat, lift your hips, and come up one more time, downward facing dog. And if you feel you need to just clear it out a little, come forward to a plank, bend your elbows in half to a chaturanga, drag yourself through an up dog one last time. Take your hips up and back, downward facing dog. So not for long, slide your right knee forward for a half pigeon, just about 30 seconds on each side. We did a little ankle to knee standing. But let yourself just kind of melt 30 seconds here and enjoying a little extra hip opening. Anchor the hands, curl the toes. From a down dog, just slide your left leg forward. Try not to think too much. Just feel your way into the pose. Slide your left leg forward. No judgment, just find the posture and come forward. Notice if all the weight is kind of dropping to the left. Just make sure you're even, your right thigh stays down, and the top of the right foot is on the floor. Good. Use the strength of your body just to come up. Swing onto your left side. Swing your right leg forward. Move your blocks with you. We have to take a few back bends to kind of finish up. So lay down, move the blocks if you know you need them. Set up for bridge pose. So walk your feet in, fingers skim the backs of your heels to give you a good idea if this is set up correctly. Lift the tailbone, and maybe you could just kind of crawl your shoulder blades underneath you with clasped hands. Try it out. The length comes from the tailbone to the backs of the knees as you anchor your feet to the floor. And you definitely want to feel like you're kind of pressing the sides of your triceps into the mat. Keep your neck neutral and make sure your thighs, your legs haven't gotten too wide. So you can stay with this. You can move on by flipping your palms over your shoulders, your chin to your chest, and moving into the next part of this pose, which is called full wheel. If you're happy with where you are, stay with this. If you'd like to get more of a flushing out of your legs, of more of a hamstring release of lactic acid, keep the block underneath your lower back and just extend the legs straight up and down. Walk your feet, Katie, in just a little closer, if you can, I know. And then wrap your thighs, everybody in, under you. If you went to a full wheel, tuck your chin, exhale your breath when you've had enough, and lower down. If your legs are straight up, just bend your knees in half, take your feet back to the floor, remove the block underneath your lower back slowly, and then your lower spine just come down to the ground. Once your lower back gets to the floor, reach to the outer blades of your feet for a happy baby. This is gonna feel really good. Pull the knees down around the ribs. Yeah, and lengthen your tailbone down to the mat. If you feel you want a wide straddle here, grabbing the outer blades of your feet, start to straighten your legs. If that does not feel like it's going to be an accepting pose, just stay with the happy baby. Yeah. And then hug the knees in towards the chest. Squeeze deeply in, like wrap your arms around your thighs. And then move your hips a little to the left and drop your knees together once to the right. So just like together, spine twist. Very neutralizing for the lower back. You can cactus your arms. But you want your left shoulder blade pressing down into the mat. Yeah. And then together at once, you roll to center. You kind of shimmy your hips a little to the right, and then your legs can just softly drop to the left. And then you look to the right. And then roll to a neutral center position. Hug your knees one last time in. And for the final, most advanced pose, shavasana, complete rest, complete restoration. Allow your body, your mind, your breath, everything to just go for the next couple minutes. And challenge yourself to be still and ignore everybody around you a little longer. As you start to breathe yourself back here, let's do it slow. Take a deep breath in. Take a loud, complete exhale breath out. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Stretch your arms slowly up over the top of the head. And then draw your knees in and squeeze in. Hug yourself tight. Rock up your own way into a seated position or however you want to close out your practice. And just sit in your body, in your space, in your mind, in your breath for a moment. And let yourself just really take in the benefits of this morning's practice. So it's not just about working our body, as you know, more importantly, working our minds. Let our hands draw to a prayer, bow our heads for a moment. Have gratitude, have closure, have self-acceptance. Lift your head, open your eyes. Namaste, as always, guys. Awesome practice. Thanks for joining me. Have a great afternoon, and I'll see you next week.